Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
My name is McElhaney. This is Nick Kocher. I don't know if you saw, we were in about a collective 5 minutes in that movie.
Depending on when you took your bathroom break, you may not know who we are.
Which actually is a great lead into the first question of, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rank the residual hostility of Joss casting you as Watchman number 1 versus Watchman number 2?
I always wondered if there was something
On a scale
to
of 1 to 10,
you
like
have,
signing a numeric value to it is interesting.
of the hostility that I have to Nick.
I would imagine, yeah.
I've thought about this because you have like two more lines than me in the film. But then I remember that first is the worst and second is the best, and that's how I've gotten through it.
That
in my head.
rhyme has ruined
It's stuck
so
with me
many
for
of my
so long.
days.
No, I feel like we got good, ample screen time together.
All
to
right,
do stuff.
good.
We got to work
Brian
with
got
each
to
other.
fool around with a
I got a
flashlight.
flashlight. I got a
didn't
cool
get a
prop,
flashlight.
so-
So it all works out. Well, I guess it's just any time you're working on your next project together and you're having a disagreement, you can kind of just pull rank and say,
Like you got to be at
number one.
so let me take this one.
Yeah.
But I actually am interested in this. So, I'm a fan of your work on BriTANick, and as I understand it, Joss is too. Can you explain to me, how this happened? I mean, why are you in this movie?
Right. I don't know.
Black magic.
Why are we in this movie? So Nick and I, we're a sketch comedy duo. We started putting stuff on YouTube in 2008. Very cool. Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
That's the correct percentage of BriTANick fans in this audience.
We also do like improv and stand-up. We perform all over the country and stuff. And Joss became a fan of our stuff on YouTube back in May of 2011. He wrote a blog post just saying, like, the Avengers is about to start. We start production tomorrow or something. And I love these sketch comedy guys. Like, check out their stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
you just put it online.
I don't think I spoke for an hour. I was just sort of like, I was talking to all of my like comic book nerd friends to make sure it wasn't a prank. We're still not sure if this is all a prank.
I think you have evidence now that
At
it's not.
this point,
But
it must not be.
I
Now
don't
that
know,
it's
man.
being
It could be a
shown.
long con.
I know. But
There's
then-
actually a funny. This actually isn't really talked about that much when we tell this story. But the way that Joss like found out about us was
Right.
there was a girl who through the Make-A-Wish Foundation wanted to meet Joss, and like so the Make-A-Wish Foundation flew her out during pre-production on Avengers, and Joss was like, "This is the worst part of this of like you should come out when we're actually filming." And he flew her out when they were filming, and she showed him our videos.
Which is really sweet. Like,
Yeah.
That's a really cool story, in my opinion.
wow,
I'd
yeah.
like to meet her. But yeah, so then a couple months later, they started doing pre-pro on this, and Joss's assistant, they're trying to figure out who to play the small Watchmen characters. And he was just like, what about those BriTANick guys you like? BriTANick is the name of our sketch group. And then Joss was like, yeah. And then they just emailed us and was like, do you want to come do this in secret? You're going to have to pay for your own ticket because we're not doing it at any budget. Is that okay? And we were like, yeah, I think that's fine. I think we'll do
Let's
anything.
check our schedule.
Free,
Hating
completely,
ourselves
always.
quietly in the mirror, or flying to Los Angeles to be in a movie.
And so we just shot it, and it was I don't know, I guess, so we should probably talk a little bit about the production of it. It was shot in like 12 days in his house on 3 Red cameras, and it was, I remember Josh saying like he wanted to make it more like a filmed performance more than an actual film. Like we had like 2 or 3 takes max for everything, because they just had to move. 12 days is not much time to film anything like this at all, which is why it's, just very much point and shoot. The lighting was minimal, and that we just kind of shot it. And
Yes, we did.
we did. Us two
It was
just shot it.
we
We were the most.
all worked
important
equally
parts of
on
the
this on this
filming of
film.
But at the same time, he kind of encouraged everybody to stick around, hang out at the house. Like it was unlike any other film set I've ever been on, because we didn't really treat it like a film set. We shot like there was just wine to drink whenever you wanted. You could pass out at his house if you'd like. It was just like, don't be in the shot. That was the only contingency, and that was it. And it really became kind of like a big party. And then and the cast, like that cast, aside from us, is like Joss's best friends. So it was really kind of a labor of love.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, was there any intimidation? I'm a very, very big Joss Whedon fan, as we were saying before. So when I had seen the movie and I'm excited and I'm pointing out like, oh my God, it's Malcolm Reynolds, and
Right.
and you're going through the entire cast. I mean, was there any kind of intimidation factor of this is kind of a very close knit family group
There
for him,
was
and then you joining
beforehand,
that?
big time. We were really nervous going into it, but Joss was lovely and like showed our videos to the whole cast. So when we got there, they were like, "Hey, I've seen you on YouTube. It's
like-
really great." And we were like, "Cool, yeah, we've seen you on like Fox."
It's like they're like quoting our videos to us, and it's like, cool. Do you want us to quote every Captain Mall quote ever? I mean, Jesus. They were very, very sweet, and they kind of just knew that this had to be a collaborative effort. So it became very much an ensemble piece, and the bigger actors were very cool with that, of us being kind of on the same level as them. And then Joss has since taken us to like all the festivals and let us do the Q&As, and Nick and I kind of get as much like red carpet and Q&A time as everybody else, because Joss just wants it that way.
Which is absurd when your characters don't have names
It's
in the
amazing.
movie.
But it seems like this is kind of the beginning of the beginning of a couple of collaborations. Joss has now been in one of your videos.
Right,
yeah.
So was that? How did that happen? I mean, was that
Black magic again.
while you
Yeah,
were
we
shooting
used,
this movie, saying, I've got this part and I think you'd be perfect for it?
Well, we were like, do you want to be in a sketch? And he was like, absolutely, anything. We're like, really? He was like, yeah. And so we made this really stupid sketch where Joss is teaching Nick how to use the bathroom. And Joss has no lines in it.
So just for comparison, he did a black and white Shakespeare movie, and we did a 3-minute long video where he teaches me how to poop.
And then we dress him up as a bird and everything, and he couldn't be happier. Like, that's all he wanted to do, and I bet he would do it again. Like, he's such he really falls in love with the people he works with, and then wants to do everything he can with those people. So it was daunting to ask him, but then he was game completely.
Well, I watched it again today, and he does seem very all in on his performance.
Yes, he is. No, he really commits.
But then also, Jill, who plays Hero in this, was also in one of. So, did you meet her here? Was that somebody that you had known before?
We met her on set. She's got an interesting story. She was an extra in the. This is Jillian Morgan, who played Hero. She was an extra on the Avengers, and Joss really liked the way that she cried in one scene, and was like, "Would you want to audition for this?" And she responded like how we responded, which was, yes, very much yes. I'm an extra, and then she got the part and is now kind of part of their family.
It's insane. Like, that's something when you're an up and coming actor, people are like, "Hey, you should do some extra work. Who knows who can see ya?" And it's like, yeah, but nothing ever happens. And then that happened. Like, that never happens. Like, the fact, that's a one
This
in a
will be
billion
the story that people use to justify
why they're doing
their
extra work
their failed
over and
acting
over again.
careers for a long time.
No, I know. I'm going to rewatch The Avengers, actually, and see if I can spot her. There's actually, if you've ever seen The Verdict, when Paul Newman is giving his emotional address at the end, you can actually see Bruce Willis sitting in the courtroom.
That's awesome.
For those of you who didn't know that, a little Verdict trivia to take home with you. I'd like to open up to the audience. If anybody has any questions about, about Much Ado About Nothing, about, anything in general, I have more. But if anybody...
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
You're talking about to fly there? Oh, for
Here?
this. Oh,
It
they
was
did
sold
not
out.
make us, we just showed up at the very end,
Yeah.
so we did not pay for our tickets here. Would you have made us pay for our tickets?
I don't know. We'll
Okay.
see. No, you know what? You guys, you're comped for the rest of the run. So,
thanks.
so
Nice.
on weekdays. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I don't know what a red camera is, and that may be the answer to my question, which is black and white for economy's sake.
I think
He's
we're the
talking about.
best
He's just
people
it's
to
a question
answer
about
this question.
the red camera.
Yeah, the red camera is just a really nice digital camera now. They're shooting a lot of stuff on. You can work very quickly on it. The black and white element was an artistic choice by Joss, and partly a practical choice too, because I know they didn't have any time to set decorate his house, and I just remember him being like, white walls look really crappy in color. So he just wanted, in black and white, they look wonderful and white, like everything else kind of. And I think that's just how it was explained to me. So it's part practical, part, oh, let's just make it look artsy. But yeah, the red camera shoots color very well as well.
Have you guys ever done Shakespeare before?
I have in college.
And I did in high school, but I'm not trained in it anyway.
Yes, you, sir. I'm just going to repeat it just because we're taping it, and just so everybody can. It was a question about you had mentioned that it was shot in 12 days. Did that include rehearsal time? Because it is a play. I mean, what was the timeline there?
No, it didn't. There were a few days of rehearsal. We had an hour of rehearsal because we are barely in this film.
Right.
Um,
But I think because I just remember like Nathan's schedule was crazy with Castle and everyone else was working on everything, that like he didn't really get that much time to rehearse. Like he only got a couple days max with some of the leads to rehearse everything. So it was still all done within a month altogether.
Did you spend, just as a follow-up to that, did you spend a lot of time with the cast prior to the shooting, or was it you just kind of showed up and then you were shooting that day or the next day?
We had one day of rehearsal where we met Sean and Ricky and Spencer, which is all the sort of villains in the film, and Nathan wasn't there for the rehearsal because he couldn't be. And then I think it was like the next day or like that weekend. I think we started filming, so there was really no time spent beforehand.
Oh, that's great. All right, I see a woman there in the middle section. Yes, you. What was the most ridiculous thing that happened on set?
I really like this story. It's so weird. I really connected with this story for some reason. At the wrap party, so there's this giant bottle of wine in Joss's house that was like literally 4 feet tall. Like to scale. It was like you had to pick it up like this. And we saw that the first day and we're like, that's amazing. Let's drink out of it. He's like, no, I've had that for 25 years. Actually, you know what? Wrap party, we'll drink out of it. So we're like, cool. So the wrap party happened and it was like a huge party and we got the thing and everyone gathered around and someone popped it and then Joss was like, wait a minute. I have the perfect thing. Hold on. And he ran away and he came back with a wine glass that was 1/4 of an inch tall. But like to scale. And so someone like picked up the giant wine bottle and poured it. It was just like a joke about different sizes, but it really made me laugh. It was an insane moment. And it was rancid. It was bad wine.
Yeah, the wine had been not drunk for a while, so terrible
I remember
experience.
Like, one of the first days too, like we had a pool party after shooting and I had no bathing suit and Joss was like, come on, I'll get you a bathing suit. And like we went up to and I was like drunk and we went up to his like walk-in closet and he was just like pulling bathing suits out of all these different places and like, try this on. And this is like the second day we were there and I was like, where am I? What is happening in my life right now? That Joss is just throwing swimsuits at me.
Yes, you, sir.
Speaking of costuming, the women look lovely and nicely costumed. Men's suits, I noticed, are not particularly well fitted.
I want to stop you right there because those were our suits that we owned. And I'll not have ill spoken of my beige suit.
Right, because given the budget and given the timeline, I'm thinking now, you just said throw some clothes into there was no costume, it was throw some clothes into your suitcase and put on a suit.
Yes,
Yep.
that is exactly what it was. They said bring a suit and that's it. That's all it was. Mine was royal blue, but you can't tell.
Yes, you, miss.
You said that it was filmed all in Joss's house. Was there any interaction between him and his family that made filming tough or creative?
Shooting it in Joss's house, was there any interaction with his family that might have created some tension or any interesting stories there?
Not at all. Basically, I think if anything, it helped because Joss was able to be around his kids, and that would just like re-energize him.
But I
and
remember Joss was saying like his kids at some point were like, "Can I go to bed
Yeah, yeah.
in my room?" Like where Alexis's room is his daughter's room, like with all the stuffed animals and everything. I know they had problems with the neighbors at one point. The cops got called, and they showed up and they told him to quiet down, and they left, and then we just kept shooting. So
But his wife was the producer of the
that's
film.
right.
Yes.
She was
yes.
the architect to the house, which, as you saw, is incredible. That house is amazing.
Yes, you, sir.
Yep.
it's a weird room in
It's like
Joss's basement.
It's his dance. It's a dance studio, is what
Yeah,
it's supposed to
that's right. And they put in some. I think that was probably the most set decorated room.
be. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Oh God, let's start over. Yeah, they put like some stuff down there. I think they put up a wall or something in that room.
Yeah, there's some like black. like,
Yeah.
it was really bare bones. But yeah, that's just his basement, which is why
Yeah.
it doesn't look like a police station at all in any way.
Yes, you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
It's first a very nice compliment for BriTANick, and then will this experience sort of influence your work going forward?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, we have a very specific style to how we do stuff. I think what we learned is how you can run a set really well because we're very irresponsible people.
We shatter SAG rules. It is obscene what we do.
Joss just works so fast and keeps everyone so fed and happy and everything. It's just like we really learned a lot about the professionalism of what being on a good set is like and how it doesn't like what was so cool about this film is like yeah, it was shot fast and on a low budget and it's great and everybody had a great time. Like I just didn't think that was possible that all those things could come together and the fact that they did like was kind of an eye-opening experience for us. So yeah, I think it really did give us a little paradigm shift.
Okay. Do I see a hand in the back there? Yes.
Oh yeah. Is that a character?
Yeah, written into the original Shakespeare, there's a
definitely.
photographer character.
She walks around with an easel.
Yeah,
and
she
just
just paints
everything,
everybody. No, that was just there was like a few changes that Joss made to the script. The biggest one, or biggest two, being that Conrad, which is the character played by Ricky Lindholm, the blonde girl, is supposed to be a man, and he made her Conrad a woman, which gave a really interesting dynamic to their relationship because it kind of for me at least it explains like why she's following around Don John as he ruins a wedding arbitrarily.
This plot is so silly. This movie is insane. I mean I love it, but like that plot is totally bonkers.
It really. Well, I remember when I was in high school. I think you're required to see the Kenneth Branagh version, and it's always played by Keanu Reeves, the Don John character, but. But it actually
be nice to Keanu.
He is such an absurd villain because he really does seem to have no motive other than he's just bored.
He's like, I want to create mischief. Let's
like
do it.
Richard III at least had, at least he was deformed, so he had something to be pissed off about.
Yeah, Joss really loved, there's a couple of kind of, like when Don Pedro's telling Claudio, like, I'll wear a mask as you, and that's gonna and then I'll woo her for you. Like having Fran just kind of be like, huh? In that moment, it's like Joss's take on that being a ridiculous idea. And that's also why he wanted everyone drinking all the time, because he was like, this plot doesn't make any sense unless all the characters are wasted. Also, I don't think you can do that Ethiop line nowadays without commenting on it. Which I'm really glad he did, because that's so funny.
The other big change was the opening scene where Beatrice and Benedict have slept together. That's nowhere in the script. It would be funny though if it was, but that's sort of Shakespeare kind of hints at a history between them, but he made a big directorial choice in saying, "Yep, there's a history."
Did I see another hand in the back or? Yes, you sir. That's a great question, actually, because it is a play. I mean, did you shoot it in chronological order, or was there any pressure that he wanted to do it that way, or was it kind of more of a traditional film shoot?
We didn't do it in chronological order, mostly because the actors' schedules wouldn't allow it.
I think if Joss had complete control and had a lot of time, I think he'd probably do it that way. But literally, just because we were so crunched, we couldn't.
But in a way, the feel that he wanted it to have was he was like, I want this to be like a filmed live performance, and he wanted almost there to be these kind of mistakes and raw parts to the movie, just because it feels a little bit more like real that way.
Sean, who played Don John, improvised taking that cupcake after he ruins the wedding.
It's actually one of my favorite moments in the entire film when he does that. It's like, oh, Andy took a cupcake,
know, right?
son of a bitch. This man is truly, truly evil. I think we have time maybe for just one more. If anybody. Yes, you.
Yes, we are.
We are playing the Del Close Marathon is an improv marathon at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and we will be doing a 45-minute long improv set there. It's the last weekend in June.
Check.
You go to BriTAnick.com.
BriTAnick.com to look at our stuff. End on a plug for us. Great.
Yes, good.
Well,
the stars of the film.
Right. Tell your friends.
Well, I want to say to both of you, the film is a hit. It's playing in New York and L.A. and San Francisco, and the numbers have been great for a black and white Shakespeare film. Congratulations!
Thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you so
out.
much
It's
for
your
coming.
support that makes these films
And-
grow.
And if you like it, please tell your friends. Word of mouth is how this movie
It's
and
gonna
movies like it
become
can
nationwide
be made.
and have more theaters. So it's very important for you guys, if you like it, to tell more people.
Okay, well,
So
thank you for
you.
coming, and
Yeah,
thank all of
absolutely.
you
Thanks
as
so
well.
much.